Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. Here following the story of Bubba Champion and our hope to get PGA glory. And what you're seeing right now is some earlier highlights from our previous rounds that we've had in our first PGA Tour event. We've had our up and down moments. Right now we're really going to be looking at vying for top 20 at this point. We're just not at the stage that we're ready to win our first PGA event, and that's really kind of how you'd expect it to go. Just because you played well in the Corn Ferry Tour doesn't mean that as soon as you get to the PGA you're going to be just dominating them all and taking them to the course. So as you can see, we are playing at the Katagawa Country Club in the Golf Club Open, our first tournament of our PGA career. Now we're going to take a quick look at the leaderboard at this moment, and you will see I am 6 over par, tied for 32nd. We have had our struggles. Adam Scott has been in total beast mode at 15 under, followed by Justin Thomas and Patrick Cantlay at 4 under, Tommy Fleetwood, Paul Casey both hanging on at 3 under, along with Shane Lowry. Mr. Tony Finau, the ankle breaker himself, is sitting there at 2 under. Now this is going to be the final round of our tournament, so we're going to jump into it and kind of get this thing rolling.
Delighted to bring you all the action here from the PGA Tour. We're at the Golf Club Open. Today's coverage is about to kick off. Pleased you could join us for this final round action. G'day everyone, Luke Elvey here with Rich Beam. And Rich, this next golfer, as they begin their round, what do you think of their chances?
This player's trailing by quite a few, so in all reality, they're just hoping for a good final round. And if they get one, then you're going to get a nice fat paycheck, and that'll make the travels home feel so much better.
I know, I can't wait. Let's get back down to the coverage.
And we're going to start off on this first hole. It's going to be a par 4, pretty decent length of 429 yards. And one of the toughest parts of this course has been the elevation changes. I know I mentioned that in the last tournament, but it is pretty much a consistent thing that kind of makes judging the club strength, the loft, the spin, the hardest thing. In this course, you'll notice there's not a whole lot of flat parts, whether it be on a green or in a fairway. It's pretty rough. So even this second shot from the middle of the fairway, it's not something that's that easy to pull off. We do have a 3-mile-an-hour wind to our back, but it is elevated above us, and we do get a pretty decent pitch. I pull it a little bit, which means our swing is off, and so this ball does kind of go flying a little bit past our pin. But we do have a birdie putt from 31 feet away,
so there's a chance.
And this has got a right to left break. It breaks harder at some points and a little less later on, so we are going to go ahead and give it a whack. And that ball is tracking, and it will drop into the cup. Thankfully, we kept the pin there, and that is our first birdie of the day on hole number 1. And you'll notice that puts us at tied for 28th, so we're already moving up the leaderboard after the first hole. Adam Scott still at 15 under, so if we can somehow make up 20-plus strokes, I think we can do this. And to take the tee box at the second hole, it's going to be another par 4, about 474 yards, with bunkers on the left and the right. And we get a good solid drive coming out of there, right down the middle, needing it to get a good kick, and it bounces right and plays off these hills just perfectly. But it does park on a spot where the ball is a little bit below our feet, so I do need to take that into account. Now our second shot is going to be a simple, soft little 9-iron from about 140 yards away. And I did not take into the account enough the ball being below my feet, so it does shoot off to the right. But we get a good little roll and stop on that shot, giving us a decent attempt at birdie. Sitting at just 7 feet away with the right to left break once again. And we strike the putt, and it will lip out on the left edge. We just did not put quite enough on it like we needed. But we will drop that one in for a par. But now we are maintaining at 5 over for the tournament. and that will keep us at tied for 28. As we are through 2 holes, and the leaders have yet to tee off.
We have a par 3 on this one.
All right, here we come to the third, a par 3. But it always makes me nervous when I have a wood in my hand on a par 3 coming off the tee box. So I'm going to put a lot of loft and try to put a lot of spin on this, to keep the ball from landing soft and to get it to stop. And we hit a pretty decent one, it looks like, at least, and we are going to land on the green. And it will kind of roll, not as bad as it could have been, but we are still 31 feet away once again for another birdie opportunity. We have to convert, and I completely yanked that putt horribly, and so it stops a little short and to the left. And that'll give us a pretty easy tap in for par from about 3 feet away, 2 feet. And so we are 1 under on this side. And let's keep in mind, one of our main sponsor goals that we do have is going to be to shoot 4 under par for a round. Now, this is our first tournament, but if we put together solid enough 9 holes, we can get that completed. Now, hitting on this par 4 into the wind, the little elevation change, I'm trying to judge where I can get this ball to land. I need it to land on one of those, at worst, on the little rough spots that kind of kick out. And so we hit it and just barely get it to land where we need, but that will roll into the fairway, giving us a perfect shot at the green here on the 4th hole. Now we are about 110 yards away, looking at doing a simple pitch because we don't have a club that's really compatible with that distance and the wind and the elevation, so the pitch is probably the smartest play. And we will take it with the 8-iron, put a lot of spin, and we stopped that ball just about as good as you can ask for, giving us once again another birdie opportunity on this final round from within 10 feet. We have to get it lined up. This time it's got a little left to right in front of us and a right to left behind the hole. Got to be careful on it. We give it a good strike, and it will drop in the center of the cup. That will be our second birdie on the day, and that will move us to 4 over par for the tournament. And we are moving up the leaderboard, ladies and gentlemen, tied for 25th now. And that's going to be one of our biggest goals, getting it into the top 20. That is something that we are fighting for at this moment. And this will come to the 5th hole, another par 4 with a winding fairway around a lot of bunkers. And the wind hopefully not going to play too much of a factor, but we still need to get a pretty good shot. And it will land in the middle of the fairway, but bounce off those hills and roll into the rough. And that rough is no joke. So sitting at about,
it literally is just
190 yards away in a very thick rough. We're going to have to take some uppage on the club here, go from our 4 hybrid to our 5 wood. And still, I'm not too worried about hitting it too far. I really just want to avoid that bunker that's right there in the front. That's my main goal. Put a decent swing on it, but with that rough being the way it is, we're not going to get to the green. But once again, we are set up perfectly for our 3rd shot on this par 4 to get a good little pitch onto the green using our lob wedge. And we get it kind of set up straight, and boom, we put a good swing on it. Just need it to stop, and it does. It drops dead in its track. And that'll leave us 11 feet left to right break for our par putt. And we will convert that putt just on the right edge of the cup, maintaining a 4 over par for the round. And keep it at 4, we will maintain our spot on the leaderboard as well, tied for 25th through 5 holes. This will bring us to the 6th, which is a par 5, little slight dog leg to the left, but 580, 590 yard par 5. Our first drive is going to be beasted right down the middle. And we are going to get some good flight even with that wind and some decent roll. We'll hit about a 310 yard drive, which will set us up pretty solid for a good second shot. I'm not looking at, if I land it early, I can try to get it to roll up on the green. That's kind of my goal. But the ball is going to hit a little to the left, and I actually kind of preferred that. I would prefer to do a pitch from here than have a 60-foot putt, which is probably what it would have been with multiple braking angles up and downhill. So this is a little bit easier on our third shot for a par 5. It's going to be a pitch from the side of the green, and we get a good little whack on it, and that ball will stop just within about 5 feet of the pin, setting up a great birdie opportunity. And we will stroke that putt, and we don't put enough on the brake. We don't read it enough, and it will slide right by, setting us up for a simple par putt. And things like that are what's going to kill you in this tournament. Yeah, we made par, we maintained, but we have got to convert these birdie opportunities when they come. And so we are now tied for 26. Technically, we have dropped on the leaderboard, and that's not what the direction we want to move in. So now we approach the 7th, another long par 3, with the tough pin location being in the back between those bunkers, with not a whole lot of green to work with, and having to take an iron, or having to take a wood, excuse me. I don't put a full swing, get a good, it says 93%, but I pull it to the left, and that ball almost rolls into the really thick stuff back there. Instead, just stops in the heavy rough. And now this is a pitch that, this type of thing can go real wrong. I mean, if you look at how thick of the rough we're in, it's something that can really, shoot off in an odd angle or just get caught dead and stop short. And we can't really afford that to have happen. So looking at the lie, give it a good yank to the left, and we are able to get that ball to roll pretty smoothly to within 7 feet for our par opportunity. And we will strike that putt, and we will drop it in on the left side of the cup, barely getting enough of the hole, but it was what we needed. And so we are now still 2 under through 7 today, dropping on the leaderboard, still slightly tied for 27th right now, as we approach the 8th, a 502-yard par 4. We're going to take our driver down, aiming just down the right side of the fairway with the left to left wind, excuse me. And we get a blast on that, catch it solid, and it will be posted up in the fairway on the left side for us as it kicked off a little hill. And this will now bring us a pretty decent second shot here into the green on this par 5. And we're thinking, with the way that wind is blowing, I can get a pretty good handle with my 4-wood. And so hopefully we get some bounce, but I blow it, and I am on the beach. No bueno. And here comes our third shot to the pin on this par 4. Looking, oddly enough, taking a lob wedge instead of a sand wedge. And we will pull that back and get a decent-sized stroke on it, and that will put the ball within easily puttable range at about 7 feet away. Little left to right break, but should not be too much for us to handle. And we strike that putt, and we drop it in the right side of the cup for another par, sitting at 2 under for this round through 9 holes, putting us at 4 over for the tournament, as we are now tied for 26, kind of moving up the board just slightly. And now we approach the 9th, a long 570-yard par 5, lots of fairway bunkers to try to play around with on this first tee shot. And I choose the safe route instead of the fun route, and I take the 3-wood, and I am going to blast that bad boy into the fairway, setting us up perfectly for this second shot into the green. I could go for it, but once again, I need to be smart. I realize I can't win, so I'm going to take a simple 6-iron and lay up on it. And that one will drop perfectly. Does not roll too far. So now we got a great little pitch into the green to get us right around the cup for our third shot. And we're going to take a look a little bit earlier in the day at the 13th hole, as soon as it loads up to show us. Oh, 2K21, work on that. Cameron Champ out of the bunker for par, sitting at 1 over for the tournament. And he will drop that into the cup from the trap. What a shot that was. He maintains his 1 over for the tournament.
Let's get back to it, shall we?
So now we're going to come back to seeing the real champ, Mr. Bubba Champion, with our third shot from the 9th hole, lining it up. A pretty decent wedge should do, and we get a good swing on that. We just needed to make sure to sit down once it lands and get a good little two-hop, and it rolls back, but we hit that lip, and so it rolls back further than what we were anticipating. But once again, it's just enough for us to accept. And so that'll leave us at 24 feet left for our birdie putt. And this is going to be a tough putt with the hitting uphill and then leveling off like it does. But we put a good whack into it, and it just wasn't good enough, as we do end up well short, leaving us 6-footer for the par putt. This time we drive that bad boy into the cup, making par, maintaining 2 under for the round. And we are going to be heading to the back 9 at tied for 26. Still needing to make some moves so we can get up into that top 20 position. That's kind of our goal at this point. And so this 10th hole is going to be a par 4 winding fairway, 480 yards. And I blast that thing right down the perfect side of the fairway. And all our previous days, we hit it a little too far left, and you can see that slope on there. It always bounced into that thick rough, which kind of set us up poorly for the next shot. But here we are. We're going to take a little bit stronger of a club because we do have the 4-mile-an-hour wind. We're going to take our 5-iron. I'm going to put plenty of loft and try to put some spin so it has a soft little landing. And I pull that shot so it does land on the left side, but at the front of the green, leaving us 45 feet for Bird Dog. And I'm going to go ahead and get this thing lined up. It's going to take quite a whack to get this thing even close to the cup. And we get a good little shot on it. And it's going to start tracking towards the pin. And just to the right. Perfect speed, but it tailed off at the very end. And we will get a par to start the back 9 here at the Katagawa Country Club in the golf club tournament. The golf club open at Katagawa. And the 11th hole, par 4. 398 yards, so 400 yards, not too bad, but once again, there's lots of bunkers we have to be careful with, and they tend to be close to our flight pattern. So we do get a good little extra foot of distance on that we were needing. And that drive will roll to 323 yards, leaving us at about 75 yards away for our second shot into the green. And we need to get this one close. We got to be careful with that 5-mile-an-hour wind, though. We hit the perfect pitch, and it will get that wind, and it'll just bounce right short, almost bounce into the cup and stop within 5 feet away, leaving us in prime time position for the birdie. Let the bird dog go hunting, they say. Now, a little bit earlier today, on the 6th hole, we're following Matt Kuchar, the Cooch himself, from just off the green for his par chip, and he will drop that into the cup. What a shot to maintain 1 over for the tournament, and he's also 1 over for the day, not having the best final round. But not to worry, he's pretty much not in contention like everybody else. But now, here on the 11th, our birdie opportunity. We drop it, center cup, no chance of missing, 3 under for the day. Perfect way to play that hole, better than we've played it all tournament. And now we are tied for 20th, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the top 20 in our first PGA tournament event. And we come to the 12th with decent-sized par 3. The elevation is tricky to play with because you're not exactly sure which club needs to be taken. The left to right wind, we have to be careful because we don't want to end up in the water. And we take our 7-iron, and it's going to actually work out pretty well for us. And that will roll onto the green, giving us a good birdie opportunity. Trying to hit that 4 under with only a 10-foot putt needed to do it. Left to right breaker. And it didn't look to be breaking that much, but it's obviously breaking more than what we had anticipated, and that will lip out right on the right side, and we will have to drop it in for a par, maintaining 3 under for the round, needing one more birdie to make one of our sponsorship goals and to kind of solidify us in the top 20, as we have now moved up the leaderboard to a tie for 19th place. And so here from the 13th, it's going to be a long par 5 with, once again, a winding fairway. It is a dogleg to the left, just slightly, but still kind of winds and twists its way up to the left over there. And our first drive will land 300 yards in the middle of the fairway. Gives us kind of a goofy setup to start our second shot. So we do need to kind of be careful with how it's going to come off that hill. And we hit it just a little bit further to the left than what we would like, and that is on the beach. We are bunker bound, and we are not happy about it. We need one of those shots that we've seen people like Cameron Champ hit, Matt Kuchar just need to hole it out from off the green. And here's Gary Woodland earlier today on the 3rd hole for birdie. And he gives that putt a good stroke, and he will knock it in from 40 feet away. What a putt for Gary Woodland, as he is even for the round and even for the tournament. So here we are, our 3rd shot, number 13, 3 under for the day on the par 5 from the bunker. You need to get a good swing on that because the sand's going to hold us back a little bit. And we are going to be up on the surface. We are going to be putting, ladies and gentlemen. So hold on to your britches. We've got 45 feet for the birdie. It is a left to right, kind of a steep left to right, but we're going to give it a good solid whack. And that is tracking towards the pin. And it misses just on the right side. Oh, that's painful to have happen to you. But it sets us up for a tap-in par putt. If only that birdie had fallen. If only, I say, ladies and gentlemen. We are still 3 over, and yet moving up the leaderboard because of everybody else. We are now tied for 17th, solidifying the top 20 position that we're shooting for. And we come here on the 14th hole, a par 4, sitting at about 505, 510 yards away. Not much wind to speak of, but just enough it may have some impact for us. And we do aim down the right side of the fairway, and we blast that bad boy perfectly. 324 yards sets us up dead center for a good shot into the green. And here's Matt Kuchar again on the 9th. His 4th shot must have hit it into the water and dropped it there. And he is going to plop that bad boy one bounced into the cup. And he will get a birdie putt. Mr. Kuchar himself just knocking it in from all over the place, except for when it counts for birdies. Kind of like myself. All right. So now with our second shot on the 14th, sitting at about 195 yards away. That is tough because that's in between clubs for us. So we take the best that we have, and we actually pull this to the left, needing it to kind of settle down some. Although part of me wishes that we got that to roll off the green. Give us a good chip instead of having to try to whack this putt from 39 feet. Steep left to right, slightly downhill, slightly uphill at times. It's not an easy read. And we give that putt all we had, and luckily enough, it stops basically pole high, pin high, instead of running off that ledge with that slope. And then we will drive the par putt into the cup, playing one of our best rounds that we've had all weekend, as we are maintaining 3 under par here in the Golf Club Open. Tied for 16th now, still moving on up. The better we play, the better we finish. And that was some beastly thunder. I don't know if y'all heard that on this swing, but it is. A storm is a rolling in, as they say. But here in our tournament, we're on the 15th, the par 3, a beautiful day outside. In the 2K21 world, at least.
Gorgeous looking shot, that is, Rich.
And we get a good shot on that one, and it will It's not stopped like we wanted it to, but that's okay because we are on the green with a birdie opportunity again from 18 feet. Little right to left break. We got kind of a little tunnel that we have to hit now. We got to angle it just right. And I put too much on it this time. I've been put not enough all tournament. This time it's too much. And we are set up for a little tap-in par putt that we do drive home, as we have 3 holes remaining in our final round at Katagawa Country Club here in the Golf Club Open. And so we will be approaching the 16th hole. And this is going to be a par 4 sitting at 500 yards, so got some good length to it. And we're going to use the wind to our favor as it blows a little bit left to right. We're going to get a good, powerful shot on that one with a good swing. And that ball will land perfectly in the middle of the fairway. And it's rolling to the right, just need it to hold on, and it does. It's not going to be in any stage of rough. We could not ask for a better shot here to start the 16th. And we find Gary Woodland for birdie at the 6th, as he has a good stroke on that putt, and it will fall into the cup around the right back side of the hole. And that will take him to 1 under par for the tournament. And we are not too far behind him. We are only at 3 over. But we do just have 3 holes remaining. Now we got about 170 yards out to go with the left to right wind. It is elevated above us slightly. So I'm going to take the 6-iron, put some loft, and put lots of spin on this shot to try to get that ball to stop. And we don't get the best swing, but we get just enough as that will bounce, and it will give some roll, but not too far, and set us up once again for another birdie opportunity. We've had plenty of them today. We just need to start making them. This one will break right to left this time. And I'm not sure of the right to left break that I'm trying to judge it on, because I've been misreading them all day. And I misread another one by mere inches as I put a too much break, and it'll slide right past the hole, setting us up with another tap in for par. And we will be sitting at 3 over for the tournament still, 3 under for the day, having an overall of great last round. We have worked our way into a tie for 16th, up from tied for 32nd, where we started the day out at. And so now the 17th, a short par 4. It is reachable, but the elevation and the bunkers are something I worry about, so I play it safe. And I put some cut on this ball to kind of get it rolling the way I want it once it lands. And it will hit, and I just couldn't get it to fly far enough and to cut hard enough. And so we are in some heavy rough here off the tee box. Set up kind of difficult for our second shot. We're going to give it all we got on this one. We take the lob wedge and we pitch it, and then it's going to land on the green, and it's going to stop within a decent shot to make birdie again for about the 17th time today, as we are sitting at 13 feet away, left to right break, slightly downhill. And we draw the putter back and we strike it, and it will go just to the right side. This time we don't play enough. We've been playing too much or not enough. Rarely do we play it perfectly, and we will knock that par putt home here on the 17th. And so now we come to 18, and this is going to be a par 5. We are tied for 16. We have a par 5, a great chance to make a birdie and move up in the world. And this is our time. This is our hole. We take a good, solid drive off that tee box to set us up really well. The left to right wind doesn't really destroy us. It will put us on a slight slope here in the fairway that I need to account for as we try to hit into this green. The wind is at our back, so that should definitely help. And only having to take a 5-wood, I should have a little bit more control over it. I line it up into the green to take this shot. And the one thing I forget to do is play the loft of the shot. And it shoots to the right and bounces off the hill and goes in the water. Oh, that is painful. By rule, angle of the pin
Time now for the
where the
fourth shot.
ball entered. This is the best spot I could drop, which means heavy rough. Oh, man, that hurts. This is now going to be our fourth shot. I need to play this smart. I'm going to take a lob wedge here just from about 97 yards. Or really 90 yards. It's about 90 yards, but when you take the elevation into account, I'm going to have to give it a little bit harder of a shot. Just hope to get it there. And I take the sandwich. We barely get the ball to stay up.
What a shame.
So now we have to pitch it up
Hit a
for a
lot of
par.
greens
This
today,
is
just not on this occasion.
painful. We had such a good round going, and thanks to the rough, that ball just collapses. We chili dip it. And now I'm just hitting it on, and that'll be for our sixth shot of the day. Here comes our double bogey putt. We were 3 under. Give us another under par round. I'm 7 feet away, and I push it to the right. You've got to be kidding me. Coming in for triple bogey as we finish the day at even par. Remain 6 over for the tournament. That one hurts, but it is only the first tournament, and there will be many other opportunities to recover. Man, that is painful, and that is not what you want to see at all. We do drop to a tie for 29th place, as Adam Scott will go on to win the tournament at 20 under for the whole thing. And we now have a rival. Hey, someone to personally beat down. Let's see. Cameron Champ, Mr. Chip In from the bunker himself. Okay. Mr. Champ's going to be our rival. Okay. All right. And so our next tournament is going to be the Shriners Hospital for Children Open at TPC Summerlin. And right now in the FedEx Cup standings, we are 29th. And so that's about what we would expect since we finished 29th in our first tournament. Adam Scott does lead with 500 points, followed by Justin Thomas at 300, Paul Casey at 163. And let's see, who are we tied with? Shay Reevy, Tyler Duncan. Kuchar's got more than us. Mr. Chip In all the time because I can't get on the green in regulation. Okay. All right, well, I just want to thank y'all for tuning in with us for this episode. And if you did like what you saw today, be sure to hit that thumbs up down below. And be sure to hit the subscribe button if you have not already. I'll see y'all next time at the Shriners. So as always, stay safe, everybody. And later, y'all.